April 2019 new moon. I'm Phaedra, the astrologer and artist of Mystic, Physick, Astrology, and most of you who are already in the group and who join me on these broadcasts know me, but we have had some new folks join in the last couple of days. And so if you're new to the broadcast, I just want to welcome you. So I use Western Sidereal Astrology in my practice, and really my intent is to help you reconnect with your... Welcome back. Sorry about that interruption. Just had a fit with the internet connection or the wireless or the data or whatever the heck it's piggybacking on here. But thanks for joining us. As I was saying, I'm Phaedra. I'm the astrologer and artist of Mystic, Physick, Astrology. And really my aim in my practice using Western Sidereal Astrology is really to help you reconnect with your soul purpose and to really remember why it is you came into this life to begin with, so that you can take conscious active steps towards fulfilling that purpose and really living the life that you want to be here living. Give me just one moment to refresh the broadcast in my browser right here on my laptop in front of me. I'm just watching for comments in case I have any issue with grabbing the comments off of the live feed. I want to be able to look them up on the laptop. So really with this broadcast, the idea is I'm trying to provide guidance for you on how you can consciously use the energy of the transiting planets, including the transiting new and full moon, to affect your life in a positive way. And so with the lunar living approach, what we like to do is set intentions in alignment with the new moon and let go of things that we've outgrown and that aren't serving us any longer with the full moon. And so tonight with our new moon in Sidereal Pisces practice, I'll guide you through exploring the Pisces themes of healing and compassion. We're going to explore when self-sacrifice and selfless service are appropriate, and we're going to set intentions for tapping into the new moon in Sidereal Pisces energy, really so that you can create a life more aligned with your dreams and with your own spiritual path. And so I want you to grab a pen and paper, grab your sidereal natal chart. We're using the Fagan-Bradley zodiac this evening, or at least you'll want to know your rising sign. And together what we're going to do is use the new moon to manifest. And so if you need to look up your sidereal sign placements, there's an easy online calculator at mysticphysick.com/sidereal tools. And I included, this time, I included the link in the video description. So you can grab the link out of the video description, or I'm going to include it right here in the comments if you'll give me just one moment. Here we go. I think that does it. All right, so that's in case you need to look up your sidereal natal chart. We're working primarily with your rising sign, but you can do this practice with your sun sign. And I would love to invite you, just before we kind of dive in, if you've been doing this type of a practice, or if you're really familiar with your own chart and the houses of your chart, let me know in the comments if you've had something, like if something that you can recognize has come up for you recently that's like related to this particular new moon. And I call this out in part because I just had a realization the other day. I have new neighbors with this new moon, and I'm like, where's that showing up? And sure enough, I went and looked. It falls along with my solar houses. So I have my sun in Capricorn. And so with this particular new moon, I have a new moon in my solar third house. And lo and behold, here we have brand new neighbors. They're wonderful folks. We've already introduced ourselves, and we're excited to have them join us in the neighborhood. But if you've had anything like that come up for you in the last couple of days, I'd really love to hear what it was and what house Pisces is falling into for you, whether it's in alignment with your actual natal chart and your ascendant, or if it's in alignment with your solar chart and your sun sign. Let's talk for a little bit before we dive in too deep into the broadcast about this particular new moon. And then what I'll do in kind of a second part to the broadcast, I'm going to go over what house this is falling in for each of you by your sidereal rising sign, and we'll touch on what the themes of those houses are. So in case you don't know and you want to work with that, you'll have that guidance. And then in our third part of the broadcast, we'll dive more deeply into exploring Pisces archetypes, Pisces themes, ways that you can use this particular new moon to initiate new Pisces motion and growth and energy in your life, kind of tap into it, if you will. And then I'll go over some prompts to give you for setting your intentions with this new moon. So thanks for joining me. Right now, I want to kind of back up just a little bit and talk about Mercury conjunct Neptune. We just had this conjunction on the 2nd of April, so this is a real recent phenomenon, and this can trigger for folks. This is conjunctions are strong aspects, and so this can trigger information or secrets to be revealed or come to light. Hidden information can come to light right around the day of that conjunction. So this can happen the day ahead, a couple days ahead, or even the day after, although usually it's more powerful leading up to the exact conjunction. This particular conjunction was at 22 degrees Aquarius. So in the forecast on the website, I called out gossip and scandal being a risk. But what I wanted to bring up is have a look at your chart to see if you have planets or points at 22 degrees of Aquarius. If you do, you probably felt that pretty strongly, and you probably can think back and pick out exactly what has happened in the last handful of days related to that Mercury-Neptune conjunction. But you can also check if you have something at 22 degrees of Libra or Gemini. That could trigger for you, because then you would have it, you would have that conjunction trining a point in your chart, right? And so if you have at 22 degrees of another air sign, you could still feel that conjunction. You might feel it in a more pleasant or more beneficial way, right? If you have a planet or point at 22 degrees of Scorpio or Taurus, it might be a little more challenging for you. So have a look at your chart and see if you've got anything occupying those points, or even at 22 degrees of Leo. And what you could run into there are communication difficulties within relationships and partnerships if you have a planet or personal point at 22 degrees Leo. And so if that's the case, be sure to seek clarity. Ask clarifying questions if you need. Just make a little bit extra effort to try to come to understanding, because you may need to make an extra effort to reach that around this time. And so there may be some natural fallout from events of this April 2nd conjunction, and just be aware, kind of like, reflect on your own life and see if anything jumps out at you. And that way you'll kind of know maybe how you can kind of work with it or respond to it. We have some folks joining us live, which is good to see. Hi, Mona and Rachel. Catherine's on. So the new moon in Pisces, this new moon, let's talk about it for a moment, is the April 5th new moon. Of course, we're on the 4th here. We're coming in just a day ahead. This new moon is kind of cloaked in a little bit of a dreaminess, right? We have Neptune as the ruler, still in close enough proximity to Mercury to cast a fog over communication. So we're still feeling the waves of that conjunction, and that's kind of why I wanted to talk about it. And that will color the flavor not only of this particular new moon, but anything that we begin during it. So you'll want to factor that into the equation as you're deciding what it is you want to initiate in conjunction with the Pisces new moon, okay? So words can have the power of illusion, right? Artistic Venus, she's going to be gaining ground to come up on conjunction to Neptune, right? And that will flavor our experience as well. That's going to cast kind of, she's going to take on that kind of dreamlike quality of Neptune as she approaches that conjunction. And so that's going to flavor our experiences here in the next couple of days as well. I'm bumping the microphone. Sorry about that. So this particular new moon can support imaginative and really inventive group efforts, anything that requires team problem solving, any kind of group activity or endeavor that really requires a degree of creativity and cleverness, especially cleverness at creating illusion. Like community theater is really what comes to mind. But of course, that's not the only thing. For instance, just the other day, I went out to an art gallery opening, right? So painting is a very Neptunian theme. Any kind of visual imagery that creates illusion can be Neptunian themes. So think about what might have happened in the last couple days related to that Mercury-Neptune conjunction, and see if you can spot it. And I encourage you, if you keep a journal or if you keep a planner or a diary or an agenda, make a note of what it was, because you may be curious to come back and have a look at that down the road. Conjunctions begin cycles, and so this conjunction has just begun a brand new cycle for all of us, and so we'll continue to feel it as Mercury and Neptune continue to play out their dance. Diving in, though, we're going to move on to part 2.